Hi, welcome everyone. This is Dr. Mark Pritchard, and I'm here with Mike Golub, President of the MLS Timbers here in Portland. And Mike's graciously allowed us to take a few minutes to talk to him about his career and also his responsibilities and experience here with the Sounders and throughout the last decade. Oh, at the Timbers, I'm sorry.
We're starting off on a bad foot here, Mark. So.
All right, so all right.
Let me say up front that the Timbers beat the Sounders in the playoffs last year. Let's get that on the table.
All right, thanks, Mike. All right, okay. Now, just to kind of set the scene, I thought I'd run through a few questions
Sure.
about your background experience leading you into this kind of position and how it's played out for you for the last couple of years. So, what first led you towards this appointment here with the Timbers?
So I've been in the sports business really my entire career. Something as an undergraduate I knew was in my bones, in my blood, that I needed to make a career out of. So I've been in the sports business since right after college. I've been in the sports television side for a few years, went back, got my master's in business, but with the intention of staying in sports, and have been on the event side with the National Basketball Association. I've been on the facility side. I've worked for Nike. I've worked with NBA teams, NHL teams, and prior to coming to the Timbers, I was Chief Operating Officer of the Trailblazers, and had the opportunity to come over here to the Timbers at a really incredibly opportune and interesting time, and that was 2 years in advance of the Timbers joining Major League Soccer. And so Portland was a city that has been trying to get a second Major League team for literally decades.
Right.
And so the chance to be part of its first Major League team in 40 years, in a city and a region that loves soccer, in a league that was really coming into its own, was a really unique opportunity that I jumped at.
Right. So could you just walk us through the development of the club since that position came up and things started to unfold?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I like to say that we're an expansion team. We were an expansion team that had 35 years of history. The Timbers were first born in the mid-'70s in a league called the North American Soccer League that had some initial success in the '70s, very successful here in Portland, but then ultimately folded in the early '80s. And then, for the decade prior to our entrance into Major League Soccer, we were in the USL, which is a Division II league. And so for us, it was about how do we transform into a Major League team, and how do we take our brand and communicate that this is something different and new and special and at the highest levels. How do we take a stadium that was, prior to MLS, a dual-purpose stadium, and renovate it in a way that's befitting of Major League Soccer and that creates the right fan experience?
Right.
How do you take an internal organization and bring it up to a Major League level? And how do you do everything in a first-class, top-shelf manner? And how do you put sort of business foundation in place for both near-term and long-term success?
Right. So, boy, that sounds like such a complex problem. And where do you start with that?
You start at the beginning, and it's when I worked for David Stern at the NBA, he's obviously was a great thinker and a great strategist, but one of the things he taught me was that it's all about details, and it's about just putting every building block in place, creating a overarching strategy, roadmap, mission, whatever you want to call it, so people have the context of where we want to go as an organization and what we stand for and who we are, to give them the framework to make their decisions. But it all starts with really good planning, and putting the right details, the right people in place who can put the right plans in place, and then executing on that. So, for us, we had the ability to plan several years out in advance and put a really precise plan together, again, coupled with the right strategy, and just began to implement that. And obviously you have to be nimble and react to things that you don't necessarily anticipate. But there's no substitute for really, really good planning and really good execution.
So it's taken a few years to get that established to the current point that it is. What kind of successes have you seen come as a result of that kind of formation?
Well, we came out of the gate with enormous success and haven't really let up. We've sold out every game we've ever played. Now 67 straight. We have a waiting list for season tickets of 10,000, which is an amazing luxury to have. We came out with the highest sponsorship revenue totals of any expansion MLS team in history, and so we came out of the gate very, very strong. Because of all the things I mentioned, we had a good plan in place, and the market was ready, and we did the right things, and the supporters and the marketplace responded accordingly. But we've like any good organization, we have to build on that. And you have to get better every day, and you're only as good as your last day, your last game, your last situation. So we've been trying to get better every year, and both on the field and off the field, and we've added sponsors, and we've improved the stadium, and we've improved the fan experience, and we've built out our digital assets, and we've added a women's team, the Portland Thorns FC, and we were trying to grow our TV ratings, and so it's a ongoing process to always get better, and we've had some great success, but there's always room to do better and do more.
Right. What do you see as the strengths of your connection with both your fans and your sponsors? What's really at work there?
I think a few things, Mark. I think we have something we attempted to do. We've really connected in an authentic way with sort of the zeitgeist of the community. I think our supporters and the public would say the Timbers, they're authentically Portland. They get us. They reflect us in a real way. We're proud of the Timbers having Portland on their jersey. So I think we're true to where we live and where the community we represent. Secondly, I think we have an amazing game experience. People come here. It's a unique, incredible fan experience, and people really enjoy coming out and supporting our team. And also think we're part of a sport that's on the rise. It's a relatively young professional league that's on its ascendancy, and you see it manifest so many ways. The World Cup, the excitement around the World Cup, and the growth of youth soccer, and just TV ratings for the sport, and it's just a sport that's coming into its own, and we're riding that wave and are part of that wave, and so it's a fun young league, and for us to be part of its early stages, it's been very rewarding.
You mentioned that connection in the local community. How do you begin to embed your brand in the local community so that it's organic in its growth and connection?
A number of ways. You have to start with really understanding what's important to your community and who your community is, and what the sensibilities are, and what the priorities are, and what the issues are, and really immersing yourself in the community and learning it and taking the time to understand the community at large and what makes it tick.
Right.
So it starts with that, and then that's a great compass to be able to make decisions that are reflective of those things. So in our case, it's everything from all the local food that is served at our stadium, Providence Park. It is the kind of partners with whom we associate, what sponsors. So we chose to be with Burgerville, which is a local Northwest brand, instead of perhaps another national chain. We have Stumptown Coffee and Woodblock Chocolate and Voodoo Donuts and things that reflect us. But our partners, Alaska Airlines is one of our biggest partners. They're a quintessential, iconic Northwest brand. So who you partner with helps tell your story, and how you present your games. There are things that other soccer teams and sports teams do at their live presentation that just wouldn't work here in Portland. And conversely, there are things we do that are uniquely Portland that maybe wouldn't work in other places. So it's how you articulate your brand through your advertising, through your social media, through your live presentation, through your video work, through your broadcast, all have to be sort of on point and consistent with the ethos of your brand.
Okay, that's great. You mentioned actually the live experience point, and that actually takes me to a Wall Street Journal article that recently profiled the MLS and also the Timbers, talking about how, say, some SEC teams and collegiate football was interested in what you call the game experience. Could you elaborate a little bit on why they might be interested in talking to you guys about that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've gotten visitors from all over the world, teams and leagues, and from all over the world, and teams from NFL and NBA, all coming and visiting us and experiencing what we have going on here. Because I think the word is out that it's a pretty unique, it's a very unique game experience and live event experience, and that what we have going with our supporters, the Timbers Army specifically, is very unique. And like all of us in the industry, we learn from each other and share information with each other. One of the things we did quite extensively when we were preparing to enter Major League Soccer was go around the country in North America and learn from other teams and take in events and see stadiums and see what they're doing and learn from best practices and say, that might work here in Portland. Oh, what a good idea there. Maybe we should use that. And so other clubs are now doing that with us around sports, around the league and around sports. And even we've had Korean Soccer Federation and the Australian Cricket League and teams from Derby County and Man City. And so it's been nice. I think people are beginning to recognize that what we have going here is special, and they want to sort of learn from it and experience it.
On the special side of things, is there something unique about the Timbers ethos here for their fans or for your fans that, say, other MLS rivals haven't quite got to yet, or anything that's specific to you guys?
You know, I think that the Timbers Army is a very unique supporters group. All soccer clubs in the league have a supporters group or supporter groups, but in our case, the Timbers Army is very, very special. They create an amazing environment, things they do around the community, the cohesiveness, the organization, the scope and breadth of the Timbers Army is really, really special and unique. And I think that's different from most other soccer clubs around the world, frankly. I think our venue is unique. It's a downtown historic venue, right off public transportation, right in the heart of the city. Creates this really unique energy around coming to a game, coming to a match. So yeah, I think those things.
Okay, all right, that's great. I want to just interrupt for just a minute because I heard something on my video cam, so let me just double check here.
Sure.
Yeah, we're still good.
Good.
So. I heard one of those Microsoft Word beeps and I go, uh-oh, when batteries going or something like that. Okay, back to our questions. Another article, Mike, a few years ago in the Wall Street Journal talked about the Timbers-Sounders rivalry. Could you talk a little bit about that rivalry? And certainly, I mean, you've been in other leagues, so you're somewhat familiar with geographic rivals. But could you begin to unpack the importance of that, or where you see the advantages of those sorts of things?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great defining things about sports around the world are great rivalries. It's the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears. It's Auburn, Alabama. It's Yankees, Red Sox. It's Manchester City, Manchester United. Rivalries are one of the really amazing forces in sports. And with us, we have this wonderfully passionate, heated rivalry between the Sounders that's rooted in history. It really started in the mid-'70s when we both entered North American Soccer League together. And obviously we're geographically proximate, 160, 170 miles away. There's some history between the cities, but in the case of the Timbers and Sounders, it really dates back, almost 40 years, and so it's this authentic, deeply rooted, historic rivalry that has been reignited, and when we entered Major League Soccer, the Sounders predated us in MLS by a couple years, and it's been great. The matches are epic, and fans, and it's nothing like it. And we've had some, in our 4 seasons, some great matches,
Mm-hmm.
and Sounders have had their share of wins. We've had our share, and it's one of the great engines of our league, I think.
I wonder if it plays off, say for instance, we had great rivalry between the Blazers and the Sonics way back in the day, if that kind of lays a foundation for city to city going head to head.
Yeah, I think so. I think they had a great rivalry. Ours also started early on as well. But yeah, there's an inherent rivalry between our cities that manifests in a few ways.
Mm-hmm.
The Sonics and Blazers certainly had one, and so it's great. I mean, it's, you know, we're in the same region, and we're both great cities, and but we love to beat them on the field.
Right. So how do you manage that passion? Because obviously soccer has a lengthy history, European history, where sometimes that kind of passion gets out of control. What do you have to manage that in any way?
Yeah, one of the things that people expect when they come to any sporting event is a safe, secure environment. And for the most part, sports in our country have been, relatively incident-free. You have had a few cases. The giant fan at Dodger Stadium recently that got beat up. Around the MLS, there's been remarkably few, if any, incidents of note. But we work hard at it. We love visiting fans coming in in force to our stadium, and we love that our fans go around the league in force to support the Timbers when they're playing on the road. But we work very hardly with the other clubs and our brethren clubs to make sure that we bring fans in and out safely, and that they have a secure environment. And so any good operator of a stadium and a club makes sure that their security plans are very well thought out and executed. And ours have been, as have the Sounders and the Whitecaps. And so it's like anything else, you got to plan for things. But listen, our fans are great, and while there's a heated rivalry, there's a shared love of the sport, a shared love of our region, and that ultimately carries the day, we think.
Right. So thinking about, it is pretty interesting to see the success of the Sounders and now the success of the Timbers, in close concert. Were there any things learned from that initial entry in Seattle that helped build your franchise to the success it is today?
Absolutely. The Sounders really in many ways paved the way for us. They proved that soccer could be in the Northwest, can be wildly popular and wildly successful in MLS. And so, their early success was great for the league and really great for us, because it gave the league and the sport instant credibility in the Northwest. We have a great relationship with the Sounders and share information all the time. And in a year and a half or so before we launched, we spent a lot of time with them and learned from them and picked their brain and got a lot out of it. And we continue to share information with each other and have a very good working, cooperative, collaborative relationship with them. So, we obviously enjoy beating them on the field, but their success and the success of other MLS teams is great for all of us, because in the end, we're all about growing the sport and growing this league and ensuring long-term success, and we're all in it together. And so sometimes perhaps fans don't necessarily realize that, but yes, we're rivals and we want to beat them, but in the end, we're a league, we're an association, and we're all happy when there's success around the league.
So that's a good point to see this note between competition and yet partnership with your competitors, essentially, right? One of the things that's kind of interesting though, and you mentioned looking ahead, what do you see as some of the challenges or some of the exciting prospects ahead for both your club and for the league itself?
Yeah, it's a fascinating time for the league. Next year, 2015, will be its 20th year. So it's no longer a teenager. It's its 20th year, and Commissioner Garber has said before that there are now a generation of people who have grown up, who have always had Major League Soccer in their lives, and so we're a sport of the future, and sport that really reflects our country in a real way. The diversity of our country, I think Major League Soccer really captures it. So Major League Soccer's introduced a new logo and a new brand, and we're entering our 20th year, and the level of play has never been better, and the health of the franchises have never been better. Next year we're seeing the entry of a second New York team, NYCFC, an Orlando team. In 2017 we'll see Atlanta coming in. So we'll be 24 clubs by 2020. We have a new national television contract that begins next year with ESPN and Fox. That's transformative. So there's some really, really exciting and transformative, to use the word again, developments happening around the league that we're all really excited to be part of.
Okay, that's great. I wanted to start to finish with a bit of a personal reflection from you. You were nominated and awarded the MLS Executive of the Year in 2013, which is a great accolade. And congratulations.
2011.
And 2011. So we're a
Just for the
repeat
record.
guy. Okay, so we're going for a triple.
Yeah, it's really very honored, obviously, and proud, but it's really a reflection of the work we all have done here in Portland. It's a team effort on the field. It's obviously a team effort off the field, and we have, any great organization is the heart of any great organization are the people. And we've got great people up and down the organization, from the usher who greets you to the security guy or the person who pours you a beer and serves you a hot dog, all the way up to our owner. We've just got great people, great human beings, and really good professionals, hard workers and good professionals. That's the heart of any good organization. And so, I look at the award as acknowledgement of that. I happen to be the head of the business side, and so I was able to get the award. But it's been a really magical first 4 seasons here. So proud of what we've been able to do. It's been so rewarding for all of us. And what's most rewarding is just to see how it's resonated with the city of Portland and our fans. People like the Timbers, love being associated, love coming to our matches, and generally feel, and this is ultimately our goal, generally feel that it's additive to the fabric of our community. And there's no better validation than that. And so yeah, it's been really fun and very rewarding, but we're only 4 years old, so a lot more to come.
Right. What personal ethics have you taken in focusing on your career to get it to this point? What's been a priority for you in your role or different roles as you've gone through different organizations?
Yeah, I think for anybody, it's finding something you really love to do and working hard at being good at it, but also making sure that you have a balanced life. Perhaps early in my career, I was all about working hard, and it was rewarding. But perhaps I sacrificed some of the personal balance. And so I think for any young person that you teach who may be watching this, find a career that you love and that you're passionate about. Find people you love to work with, but try to also strike a balance between your career and the things that are important to you outside of your career, be it family or volunteer pursuits or other things. Because ultimately you're going to be the best professional you can be if other parts of your life are healthy. And that took me a while to sort of understand
Mm.
and optimize. And I think
Right.
I'm in a position to, I'm sort of doing that pretty well right now.
Right.
And the other thing is I've seen other people, colleagues and peers and friends and others. You have to be able to be yourself. We're all made up. We all have our own values, our own personalities, our own ways of doing things, our own style, and you obviously have to be professional and hardworking. But hopefully, you can find a career and a job and a daily rhythm that is consistent with who you are as a human being. I've been very lucky. Most of my jobs have been able to do that, though I've had a couple of exceptions. And what I'm doing here with the Timbers now is something that resonates with me personally, and think I'm able to be who I am and be effective in doing that. I also really truly enjoy, maybe it's where I am in my career, I truly enjoy helping and mentoring and developing young people.
Right.
Sort of find their most in their careers. And so to me that is, helping younger people develop is perhaps as rewarding as anything I do.
Okay. Well, on that note, and on behalf of Sports Marketing Quarterly and our readership, thank you, Mike, for taking the time to
My pleasure,
be
Mark.
with us and speak with us.
My pleasure. Enjoyed it.
All right.